No, now you're straight. Now you're
Maybe I need to
straight.
clean my lens real quick here. Can you see me clear?
So yeah, well, you clean the lens. Welcome everybody. What is going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Joe and I haven't been live in a long time. Whew, we got a lot to talk about. Like, I've created an AI thumbnail, and this podcast is about being transparent, not trying to be perfect. And people didn't get it, right? Some people, Hudson messaged me, hey, what's that say? It does realities. And I was like, I don't know if you saw the banner, but it's not the spelling. The AI didn't get the spelling right. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to leave it. So anyhow, this podcast is going to be it's going to, like, shall I say, freestyle. So Joe and I talk about, I'm going to talk about being transparent, because I don't know if you guys have been watching. I have not been posting perfect, absolute repairs. I've been posting partial repairs. I'm going to start talking about failure repairs. I shot a video that I shot like 2 years ago. It was the most deepest dent I did. And I decided to create little small shorts about it, one a little longer one on YouTube. And the main thing about that draw a lot of attention, besides it being super deep, was drilling. Right? As a first, I don't know, maybe I'm not, but I think I'm the first public person to actually show a PDR tech drilling it. And so yeah, I thought, man, it's time for me to do that. And so before we get into all this other extra stuff and going through that, Joe, I see your shop is freaking coming along, dude. It's badass. We haven't been on in a while, and so how you doing, dude?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm enjoying working in the shop. I'm able to do a lot more, man, a lot more, and look at a lot more cars. I also, I had to, start running a real business and pay for advertising and all kinds of stuff. So I am getting more, people coming in, and even walk-ins just out of the blue showing up, and which is challenging because I'm not always there, and I even have a sign on the front that says call for an appointment. But anyway, nonetheless, it allows me to work on bigger projects and also write more estimates while I'm there, and which it's just more business, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the purpose, right? Having bigger tickets, having a shop. Keith came by yesterday. Keith Costantino.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling me he's going to be coming by.
Awesome, I was going to
doing?
almost do a podcast with him, a separate one, not one that we were talking about today, but we were talking about ChatGPT, the new things going on. We talked about you, and we got into some deep little conversations. I was like, let's do a podcast. Well, I had one mic. I couldn't do the other one. So anyways,
you guys should have done it anyway with the phones,
We were thinking about it, but then actually we were going to do it. Actually, I called Mary, and Mary's like, no, you got an event with Gabby. So we couldn't do that. Anyhow, what is going on, everybody? I just want to say hi again. Camilo. What's going on, Matt? What's crack-a-lacking?
What's up, Matt?
Colorado Fleetworks and Brandon. What's going on?
Half of the ginger bros.
Half the ginger bro. I'll take a half ginger bro, please.
Welcome, Brandon.
Right on, dude. Josh Williams in the house. Craig's Auto Body Wizard here, upstate New York, Binghamton. Oh, upstate. Yeah, my son went over there to what was it, Alfred State over there. So listen, guys. Okay, so the overview of this podcast, right? We're talking about being transparent. At least I am talking about. I'm not speaking for you guys. I'm not telling you guys to do what I do. What I feel like. I'm full ginger.
Full ginger.
I'm talking about like being transparent, because lately for so long I've been in the spotlight, right? And I feel like I had to like walk on eggshells and only post perfect repairs. And for the longest time, I mean, they're far from perfect, but like most of them were pretty good, right? I'm not going to say perfect, pretty good. But then there was like times where I wanted to show how much effort it was, and I still didn't get it perfect. And then there were some times where you had to drill. And we're frowned on about like drilling. And yes, I get it. Like I know, Joe, you kind of even told me earlier you would never show, your drilling. But what about in the circumstance of the one I did, like that rail? No,
Well,
still no.
well, no. Like the reason for me, it's more about like liability shit, like pardon my language, but like, I mean, there's all kinds of myth and urban legends or who knows, about structural integrity and stuff, and I can tell you this, that I've been told by multiple people in the used car industry, used car managers, that, and these are guys that wanted me to try at any cost to fix a dent on a roof rail that was too deep to glue pull, for example, right? And they were like, just drill a hole, Joe. It's okay. I know you don't want to drill, but just drill it. And they would say that Mannheim Auto Auction would accept holes
Oh
uh,
yeah.
up to a certain size diameter. And
Yeah.
I want to say it was like a 1/4 inch or 5/16. And then before they consider it frame damage, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, we don't truly know how much of a liability or structural issue that would be, and honestly, I think if you're, I mean, this is speculation, but if you're in a wreck that's bad enough that you know that's going to be an issue, it's going to be a bad wreck, to
Well, let's
begin
talk
with.
about that frame damage, dude. Right? What is the frame?
The
It's not
body
the
and
skin. It's not the skin. The skin,
right,
the one we're drilling into. Because if it was the frame,
right.
how are you gonna get to the dent?
Well, and then you also have holes in some of these bodies, you have, some vehicles have the little roof rack, bolt, or nutserts on the inside, if you've ever seen those, um,
Yeah.
on under the roof rail, and but I can tell you this, like that dent that you fixed, that deep, sharp dent on it. What was it? Yeah, it was like a wagon, but um, it was like, I can't even believe you fixed it, first of all. I mean, that thing was so deep, I don't know that I would have ever attempted that,
I
but
didn't want it to do it, dude.
I
I
have
turned it
videos of
down.
me working through a hole that I drilled. I just didn't show me actually drilling it. That was pretty ballsy of you, I admire it. I do. I I think that you I think transparency is really good this day and age for your ideal client. Um, and remember, the people who are giving you grief on your video, those people are not ever going to be anyone's clients. These are idiot guys with beat up old, cars that are never going to use PDR anyway. They don't even have the dough because they spend all their time online, criticizing people. so,
Mhm. Mhm.
so I mean, I guess to answer your question, would I show me drilling a hole? I've thought about it, and actually, I've videoed myself drilling a hole before, um, but I just never turned it into a video. I guess I don't really, I don't know, but I admire the transparency. I think the transparency is key again for getting in front of your ideal clients.
Okay, well, Stefan made a good point because you ever watch his content? It's pretty good. Stefan right here.
Stefan, no, I have not.
So but he made a good point. He says coming from collision, anything that's welded on is considered structure. Okay.
Okay.
So listen, by the way, gentlemen, ladies, I never pick up a drill and just drill someone's car. Okay. I always get permission. Right. And especially if I'm going to show it on video. Um, the guy begged me to do this vehicle. And I told him, dude, that's way too sharp. Even if I drill, I don't even think I'm going to fix it because it's so deep. Like the paint
Yeah.
could crack. I
Right.
just don't think it's going to be a good idea. He's like, Myke, I have nothing to lose. I'm either going to go to a body shop or you try. I was like, well, I'm going to have to make an access point to do that. Go for it. So that's what happened in that in that situation. I got lucky. I think that was probably one of the luckiest repairs I've ever done. Honestly, I mean, call it
Really?
luck. I call it lucky because I was talking. If you watch the full video on Dent Trainer, I was talking to myself through that video, like I don't know if it's gonna work, and you could hear myself doing it, and I was like, and I even showed the viewers, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. This is the only way I can get this out. I'm
Yeah.
not making excuses for people out there. I don't want like, hey, go ahead and have a drill fest and show people that you drill. I don't think that's a good
Yeah.
idea at all. Honestly, I
No.
think it's a
No.
very rare occasion that you would have to prove a point about doing in this very similar circumstance like mine.
Well, yes, it was a unique circumstance, and I don't think that the video is. I mean, anyone who sees that video can understand that that whole quarter panel would end up getting cut out, or what's the alternative? That's such a deep dent. I don't know that. I mean, I'm no collision expert, okay, and maybe Stefan can help us with this, but how would that dent get repaired in a conventional repair scenario? Can they put the stud gun on there and pull that dent just to get it shallow enough to fill it, or would they be cutting a segment out of the quarter panel, or the entire quarter panel?
Yeah.
The
Right.
other thing is, these can be like, or maybe Stefan can answer this also. Can a hole like that be safely welded, like patched and welded, and so that the structural integrity is, confirmed,
Yeah. Well, you got
and
three
without
body
harming
guys here.
without harming the outside, the paint of the exterior?
I mean, listen, there are things that body men do that they don't show. They would never show,
Oh, of
right?
course.
Right. Like I know when they tack weld a rail or a pillar or a rocker panel, how are they going to get behind it and seal and keep that from rusting from underneath? Right.
Right.
Do they seal it all the time? No, because I got body guys who are professionals who work on major cars, and they tell me that. They're like, well, sometimes we don't have a choice. There's things that we do that we wouldn't tell the public what we do, but we do it. Does it jeopardize the safety? I don't know. I'm not going to speak for them there. But
Right.
let's put it this way. Has PDR ever been liable for structural damage in an accident? Has it ever been proven? I've never seen it in 33 years that I've been doing it. I'm not telling go ahead and drill in structure in these areas. But
Right.
all
Right.
I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, let's put the truth out here too, dude. Like, let's act like we never drilled holes before. And you guys especially on the lots
Oh, yeah.
and all these, wholesale places, if you bought a used vehicle, there's a chance you probably have a drilled hole in your vehicle somewhere. I don't know. It depends on how old it is, but there is a chance. I'm not saying there's a big chance, but there is a chance because you don't know
Yeah.
who's touching that car.
Right.
Regardless, do I want to drill a hole? Hell no, guys. Like that's not my and that's not my thing, right?
Right.
We have glue pulling now,
Mhm.
but under those circumstances, there's no way you could glue pull a dent that deep. So I do like the 9252 life. I like like these guys' opinions of what their side of
Yeah,
things.
it's very valuable. Yeah, and
So
he also says, yes, we use cavity wax, and
probably,
that's something that, is becoming, I have a couple cans of that. I've already used the whole can. So,
yeah,
and Mercedes puts cavity wax in their brand new vehicles. I know because I've worked on many of those brand new, and it's on the inside. I mean, yeah, there's E-coat also in there, but yeah, the cavity wax is great because it you can spray that in there into the areas where you can't even, you can't get a spray can, or put E-coat in there.
yeah.
What does
I'm
Josh say?
glad. We have a lot, Joe, of body guys here, right? And I get it. Like high body shop guys are starting to get into GPR, right? Glue pulling, and then the next step will be some PDR. And now we're getting PDRs kind of doing what the collision's doing and the mixing the
Mhm.
massive big dent repairs, right? We're doing lateral tension, perpendicular tension. We're using chains, pneumatics, or at least I wish I have a pneumatic puller right now, dude, but that's what I'm looking for. Man, that's going to be my next purchase is having automatic puller. So
Yeah.
I really wanted that.
Oh yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
Williams,
No.
did you read this one? A deep dent with pressure in the panel. You need to figure out where the pressure come from and relieve that pressure to stop the panel from oil can. We use wax on the inside of the panels where we would weld or use heat to stop corrosion. Yeah, I get that. And you're right about that. That's what we do. We try to find where the pressure point's at and we stretch it to keep it from oil canning. Before oil canning came, or before all this lateral tension, we would take sharp tools, and basically it's kind of the theory of what the power PR box is about, and it would shock, basically tighten up the surrounding areas of the metal and
Yeah.
tighten it, right? Now, sometimes my technique too is I'll put a tab in the middle, which you saw part of on that video, and I pulled some of the center up, sustaining some of the pressure there, so it would not oil can on me.
Right.
So that's why I was saying,
Yeah.
I don't know if I got lucky. I don't know if that was just a good little trick because I didn't have a
Or maybe, years of experience and skill, Mike. Give yourself some credit, man. You're no slouch, dude. I've seen you fix some gnarly stuff. A lot of people don't know that. They, because you're pretty modest about how you present, but that's part of the transparency thing too, though.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
thanks.
humble, and I admire it.
Yep. Thanks, Joe. And Stefan, thanks for that. I mean, listen, guys, if you become a professional, you body man, I'm talking, if you become a professional PDR technician, there are going to be times where you have to make an access point. I mean, or you paint it, right? But the whole point is not repainting it. And that's what the client wanted. They did not want to repaint at all cost. And I turned it down in the beginning and said, no, we're not doing that, dude. I don't want to do it. Go ahead, go home. He came back and begged me to do it. So, I got successful, but this whole thing isn't about drilling. I just wanted to kind of talk about it since it was out there in public, and then some people could, maybe they'd have questions about it like we're doing now, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I
We got to talk about it.
I don't know if I'll be able to reply to all these, you guys. We're trying to do this live, and I know you guys got your 2 cents in here, and I think this is definitely important because I like to hear you guys' sides, and welcome you the guys from the the auto body industry, because I respect you guys' trade. I actually, to be honest with you, maybe some of you guys are in a better position. But I do kind of feel like your trade's becoming a little lost, specifically with the guys who know how to manipulate metal, and they're not getting paid anymore to show their skills. They're getting told to replace, right? There's no more art almost left in these guys. So at least based on what I've been seeing and hearing.
Well, I think they're looking to the glue collision repair to solve some of that. Because keep in mind, Mike, the metal has changed. I feel like, look at the cars we used to work on 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, they seemed like they were thicker gauge metal, and the stuff now is just paper thin, and it requires a different method. And I think that's where the glue comes in, and these guys are bringing their knowledge and their twist, their spin on it, and we're all learning. I mean, we've merged. I really think, especially now with us doing PDR through a lot of insurance claims, we are merging. We are. I mean, I gave a estimate today that he's filing a claim. It's the whole side of a Tesla, dude. The entire side of a Model 3, front fender, both doors, and rear quarter, right? And there's no reason why I can't get conventional from that, and utilizing conventional uh, uh, estimation techniques, and I could possibly get conventional or at least close to it, and save the person their factory paint. So we're merging our industries.
Yeah.
It's no more. It's like Barry, I think, said a minute ago, Barry O'Neill, he said, something about, I can't see his message here, but
Which
earlier
one?
I read one where he said, what was it? Pitting PDR against body shops. Yeah, you got to stop pitching PDR against body shops. PDR is way dearer here in Ireland, and
No, I know, and it's like over there, Joe, and because I've trained guys from Ireland, and they go to a 4-year. It's like a college. for them that over there, it's a real panel beaters, they call themselves over there.
Okay.
And they go through a real rigorous school there, right? It's a trade. That's a real trade. It's not where you're going to go, hey, can I get a job at any body shop? And they start putting you on the prep part. And no, this is a real like curriculum course, right? And you takes you 4 years. There's no skipping. So yeah, they earn their certification and how it's done. I think they take a bit more pride, and I think they still have that flexibility over there than compared to the United States. With the insurance companies dictating the body shops. I don't want to get too crazy deep because I know the body shop guys are going to have their 2 cents here too in a second. So my main thing was, transparency, right? I'm trying to be more transparent. I love posting photos and videos that like things that come out perfect, but it's not the reality of things. I'm 30, been doing it 33 years. I'm 53 years old. Now, Joe, I measure my time a lot, right? Some dents I can get out fast. I win on most of those. Some dents I underestimate. I feel like I lose on that, right? Because
Yeah.
now your ego, I'm talking not ego towards other people, to yourself. I got to
Yeah.
finish this dent. I got to glass it. Specifically, if you video it, right? You're like, damn, now I got to have the end shot, right?
Right.
I don't know how much longer I want to do that. Like, far as like competing against my feelings. Does that make sense?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and I feel like when I don't have to prove anything to myself, then I feel like I have a little bit of freedom. I feel like I'm free, because there's certain expectations where you can impress a client. To a professional PDR tech, we know, you know, a 10% is still there, 5% nobody's going to see, 3%, well, shoot, it's on us, man. We're it's about us at that point, right? We're trying to glass it and do that. But we all know, as we said it, and it's cliche, we say it all the time, you spend 90% of your time on the last 10%. Well,
Yeah.
hell, I think now it's even higher. I think we spend 99% of our time on the last 2% because we're trying to dial it in, trying to get it going. What I've learned though, Joe, is specifically when you and I did that Rivian together, is man, if you can invest a lot of your time in the beginning, you can get your freedom back at the end. Right? You get that investment of time back. And so
Yeah.
that's what has been really mattering to me, because even Big John, he's watched the repair, right? His repairs are getting like, he's always been a really good tech, but if you haven't seen his repairs in the last year, he's ridiculous now. He's getting really good, right?
Yes, and his confidence level has gone up. I've seen it. I've seen it every time I go to your shop. I see it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's credit to do with you being at the shop, right? You have standards, that I push people, right? I push my technicians to be as best they can, but also don't want to stress them out too. I want them to love what they do and have fun, right? I don't
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want
important.
I don't want to feel stressful on things like that. So I think Joe, for me, at the end of the day, like, am I better than yesterday? And it's not so much as a skilled technician. Do I feel do I feel better about myself? Like, do I do I feel more happier? Yeah, I got all this work, but am I happy doing it? Do I still feel like I did when in the middle of 2005, when I was gung ho and I was hungry and I was just going for it, dude?
Do you?
Do I feel like that?
Do you?
I don't know.
I
I don't
think,
know. I'm being real transparent. I told you I'm being transparent here, right? That's
yeah.
why you haven't seen Toledo come out with video after video after video, because now I'm getting more like, do I want to do that? And then I pulled some videos off because I just like, that wasn't my best effort. That wasn't my best effort. Like, not as in the repair, but as in my editing, like my storyline, how I want to do it. I think I'm more harder on my videos than I do my repairs. I
Yeah.
really am. And I don't
Well,
know. I've always had
it's
that kind of, yeah, yeah.
I think you're, what do you how do you put it?
What up, Jack?
Your medium has evolved. What's up, Jack? Uh, where your canvas used to be just PDR, now it at some point became video, and then as the internet and social media changes and we evolve as a species with the internet and how we consume this information. I mean, look how quick your videos have to be now, Myke, in order to keep people's attention,
That,
and
yep. Go
that's
ahead.
become your canvas, though. That's become your canvas, along with getting better at communicating with your ideal client and branding your business towards your ideal client and dealing with all the things in between, the adjusters, and that's not your ideal client, the adjuster, it's like dealing with a nightmare client sometimes, and but you know all of these things put together is you evolving and growing, and I think it's very challenging and it can be very frustrating, and we have to learn to I have found personally that approaching these things with a sense of curiosity on my best days, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if I approach these challenging things with a sense of curiosity, okay, what am I going to learn out of this situation? I got to deal with this guy is yelling at me right now because I am trying to offer PDR to our mutual client who has a scratch on her Rivian, and I'm offering to repair the dent and touch it up, and he's telling me I'm crazy basically for even offering that. How can I, instead of me on a bad day, I'll respond, reactive and want to fight back, and not that I think it's good not to fight back, but I think I'll take a step back now and look at these things as, you know, okay, if I yell at this guy back, he's not going to listen to me, right? We're just going to be shouting at each other, right? Instead, I'm going to listen to him. And when he's done, venting, I'm going to ask him a little bit more and repeat what he's saying. And you know what? I'm going to throw his game off because he's not expecting that. And
Yeah.
then, and only then can I present my take, my opinion, my perspective. And he might not agree with it ever through the conversation, but at least he listened. And at least I, in the meantime, am getting better at communicating these things. And but we have to learn to have a sense of curiosity and make it fun. You said it earlier. You said, about having fun. You want your guys, you want Big John to enjoy. You don't want him to get overwhelmed or overworked or burned out. Nobody wants that. So we're talking about the long game, right? We're playing the long game, and we've got all our friends in here, and some of them are body men who are transitioning from collision into PDR. And I think that's what anybody at any level, no matter where you're at, and I know they know it already because they've accomplished things in collision,
Yeah.
and they know it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And they know that it took a little bit of stepping back and remembering to have fun. And that's playing the long game and making this a sustainable thing.
I think you're right, Joe. Like, listen, I don't care if you're good at what you do and you've always been able to do things project wise. Do you notice it never gets easy? It just gets different, right? And if you're really good at what you do, if you want to become as good as you want as possible, you're always going to self challenge yourself, right? PDR, yeah. If you're a body man, you want to get into PDR, I think that is the best way to go. I think you're going to love it. But don't forget, there's still going to be the challenges ahead of you, just like you were in the auto body industry. There was the challenges, and it doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. I call it like there's chapters, right? Or every chapter is a marathon, right? So sometimes you get through it quicker. Sometimes you're just grueling to the finish line of that marathon, and you did it. But guess what? There's another marathon waiting for you. You got another one to do,
Oh yeah.
right? And it's nobody's race except yours.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the only in this marathon. You're the only runner. You're not competing against your other guy. You're not comparing here. When you're doing a dent, it's one-on-one. It's a you and the dent,
Right.
and it's a marathon. And that's how I look at it. And I try to tell students that way. This whole journey of learning is a marathon, man. But once you get done with that, you got another one, and then another one, and another one, and you can get in any marathon you want. But it's going to be a challenge. I mean, go run a marathon.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. It's not
Right.
easy, and that's how I feel like PDR is. And sometimes I don't feel like finishing the marathon.
Yeah.
I'll be quite honest with you guys. Sometimes I get into these races or these repairs that I just got too deep in, right? And I know everybody has done the same thing at one point, but but now I'm kind of like, okay, but what's gonna make me happy here? Like, what should I take on and what should I not take on, dude? Right?
Yeah.
Well, like,
Mhm.
how far do I want to go? Yeah, the tools are getting great, but
Yeah.
again, I told you guys, I'm not afraid to admit I'm 53 years old. I'm getting older, and I just want my time back. I want to be able to do dents, and I got other guys for me doing dents for me, but I
Yeah.
don't want to put them in that situation because they'll be burnt out by the time they're
Yeah.
45, dude. You know what I mean? So
Well, and then there's the truth. I mean, the plain truth is nobody's going to put in the time that you are willing to put in to your business. Isn't that the truth? I mean,
100%, dude.
so um, so Barry O'Neill, he says, I do love what you do. The satisfaction of fixing a dent without painting it is just brilliant. It's a high quality skill and valuable to us car guys. I'd love to learn PDR to add to the toolbox. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right on, Barry. Right on. Yeah, it's an awesome skill, man. I mean, it's an awesome service. Josh, he says, how can anyone yell at you, Joe? Your demeanor is so calm.
You
Yeah,
didn't
man.
hear him you
Um,
didn't hear him before this, dude. No,
yeah.
just kidding.
Hey, man, I have my moments. I told you I have good and bad days, but it's sometimes you hit them with the element of surprise when they're expecting somebody to be yelling back, and you don't yell back. You just calmly respond, and that so I don't know what it does to them, but he changed his tone. Trust me. And Josh also says the book is not finished till you are finished. That's very wise, Josh.
100%,
Thank you.
100%. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go too far into the. We're gonna change the script a little bit here, and so let's talk about ChatGPT, dude. Like, I don't
Okay.
think we've ever openly like. There's no way. Like now, if you don't know about ChatGPT, do you guys know that I was on it and I told Joe, oh yeah, how many long was that? 2 years ago, like right? It's like
Yeah, it's about 2 years ago. Yeah.
November 2021, something like that. Yeah, November 2021. I was messing with it, and I told Joe, I was like, dude, you've seen this? And Joe's like, what? And I showed him, and it's in our plan. No, it's in our lifestyle now, dude. Like it has changed everything, what we do, how we do it, and whatnot, dude. All right. You guys see the little thumbnail. Look at Aaron. Morning, guys. Great podcast. Oh, Joe, your voice is always so calm and smooth. Myke, you need to shave. I know I need to get rid of this high definition camera, man.
I know, man.
Freaking Aaron always taking cracks, dude.
What's up,
Um,
Aaron?
yeah, ChatGPT, man. Like that's another crazy thing. Like ChatGPT 4.0 right now, you can actually create a thumbnail, right? You can actually put your logo in there. You can put a picture of yourself, tell it to redo something, like make a thumbnail. It's You guys know I'm more tech savvy than anything ever. I love tech more than I do dents. I'll be honest with you guys, dude. It's hard for me to refrain from buying a camera these days because I want to buy a camera all the time. Because oh man, if I get this shot right there, but you know what? It's fun shooting. It ain't fun editing all the time, dude.
Yeah,
That's the hard
yeah,
part, right? Especially you got a long, grueling thing. But
right.
ChatGPT is like it's helped me be more productive, right? Helps keep the busy out and helps me stay focused on what I need to do. So yeah. It
Yeah,
says editing sucks, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, I know it does.
sure does.
Joe, what else is going on, man?
Um, well, I've been doing a little bit of PPF. I don't know if we talked about this. I trained last year to learn to do paint protection film installations, and mainly for me to understand the material more. And um, I'm a believer in the product, and I think it really does protect paint. But my idea was just to scale my business a little bit, and I feel like that's a scalable service. But dude, I did a roof color change last week, and my guy Bernard came out and installed it. And there's a black roof, and it came out really nice. It looked really, really cool. Man, the customers were super happy. And I guess to answer your question, I'm looking at the other opportunities that are possible, with PDR, because that's one of those services that I feel like goes hand in hand with PDR. That's something new that I'm venturing into.
Yeah. Joshua, I'm not sure yet what I would be doing. It would probably be a mix of everything. I feel like I shine more in video editing than anything else, along with doing ChatGPT. But I implement everything into what I do now these days. I think more outside the box. I don't use it ChatGPT like normally, like, hey, write me a blog with this and this and that. I get really Joe does too. I get super deep into what I do, including before I edit and video. I just want to like picture a script of how I want to do things. So I might do something like that, Josh. I haven't given it much thought, but I'm not sure yet. So thanks for the question though. Anyways.
What does Jay say? Jay Slick?
Oh yeah.
You want to click on
Yeah,
his
I meant to say something. I put his question up. I've been a huge boxing fan since I was a kid, and this is why I'm so infatuated with PDR. It's like a fight. You and the Dent, and I refuse to lose without giving my all. And that's how it goes, man.
Heck yeah.
Dude, it's either you got the grit to be good at PDR, or you don't. It's just you can't teach grit. Like people say, "Oh, I'm motivated to be good." Well, we all heard this thing, right? Motivation runs out. That's the same thing. Like, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm work out, I'm motivated, I'm hyped up, and then all of a sudden, 3 days later, you're not 5:30 in the morning, wakes up, you're like, oh man, I can't. I'm just too tired, dude. Right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
are you sure though? I mean,
100%.
yeah. I mean, you
Well, you're
can't teach
talking.
grit though. Like,
What, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
like I guess life-changing events have to happen for somebody to be able to learn grit, right? Like something drastic has to happen.
You
But that's
100%.
the main
That was
ingredient.
me. That was me. You're speaking to me because I didn't have grit when I first learned. Matter of fact, of course, nobody's gonna have that grit if they're just thrown in there and said, "Oh, you want to do PDR?" And you're like, "What's that?" Well, here, come on, show up to work, and I'm gonna like, it pays good. All right, let's try it. Then you get your ass kicked, and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this, man.
Yeah.
What? You got something to say? Add to that, Joe?
No, you said it right, man. You said it good. Well said. I was reading comments. Sorry.
Look at D. D, listen to this podcast later, man. It's time for you to go to bed, man.
What's up, Danny?
What up, Danny?
Yeah, it's like 10:30.
Like, can you teach grit? No, you cannot teach it. You can tell them that you should have it, but you can't teach it. Like it's going to grow on you. I think it grows on you. I think what happens is, like, if you do your first successful dent,
Yeah.
you better have it by then, because the customer is going to be ecstatic, right? They think that you saved their kid or something, dude. And right, and then you get that. Now you're more hooked on the results and the satisfaction and how the reaction of the client is than you doing the dent, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where that builds off of. It's kind of like, all of a sudden when you go to the gym, you feel motivated, but you hope the passion takes over, because all of a sudden, slowly but surely, 3 months from now, you're starting to see more tone. You lost some weight, your gut's smaller. Oh shit, man, I got to get back in there. Like, I'm going to hit it up now. You're more motivated and you have more passion. But again, you do have to have that as goals. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, you do need to fail and get up and fail again and then fail again, 100%. And I'll tell you, newbies and even in your body shop guys, if you're gonna do dents, man, you just remember those failures are the biggest contributions to your wins. You always remember the fails. I don't know why, but you always remember the fails more than the wins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's healthy. I think it's healthy.
it is. It is. Um, I don't like. I lost my train of thought. Like what I was going to talk about, Joe.
Well,
Any particulars? Oh,
well, being here, I think that's Austin, uh, in over
oops.
by Chris and Steve. He says takes a lot of work to get good. It's true. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. Uh, and yeah, I was going to ask you: is it possible to have too much grit? Like, is it can you go the opposite direction? Because I feel
It's
like,
called burnout.
well, yeah, and I think I've gone too far. Like where you mentioned earlier about having too much emotion, like tied up, invested in something, and as you just keep going and going and going, and it ends up being futile. Where is that point? Like I think that's something for every individual to ask and answer themselves.
Yeah,
But
100%. I here's the deal. You guys gotta have. At least for me, I'm not gonna say. I'm not speaking to you guys. I am, but I'm speaking like I'm talking back to myself. I'm like, man, I've been doing this a long time, and when you have a lot on your plate, I got a video edit. Like you come home, you're like, okay, I did an awesome repair. Now I got to edit. I can put that out, or I got to make a post. I got to go my business. I got to reply to customers' reviews, which that's the worst thing I'm at right now, dude. I do not reply to my reviews. Like
Mhm.
I need a system to do that. So that's my next thing I'm going to do. But
Mhm.
anyways, you do all these things, and all of a sudden you're like, man, where's my life at, man? Like
Yeah,
I gotta slow down. I gotta balance myself. And I
yeah,
do that probably 3 times a year, guys. I have those moments where like I need to freaking chill out, dude, for a second. So yeah.
right,
Careful,
right.
you don't want to get to that point, and you will in the beginning. Like you'll get when I first shot out of the cannon, oh, not much is more validating than customers' reaction to your work. 100%, 100%, dude.
So,
I fail every week, dude. That is the most transparent freaking comment I've heard, dude. Okay,
yeah,
hell
yeah,
yeah, dude. Like you
yeah.
think that means you're challenging yourself. That's what it means. Like
That's right.
if people
That's
tell
right.
you that, oh, I glass every day, and I'm good. I never.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
No, they're not
then
challenging themselves enough.
you're not doing anything out of your comfort zone. You're not challenging yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying to me. But if
Right.
he says I fail every week, that means
Yeah.
he's busting his ass trying to push himself to be better. And
Yeah.
yes, I think that's probably the comment of the night right there, Ben. So short and sweet and truthful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um, he gave me such a good comment. I freaking lost my train of thought. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Dent
so
Dent Popper, he had said, you draw strength and hope from gradual increments of
can,
improvement. That's true too. That's very true. It's like building a muscle. You said it. It's like working the muscle, building a muscle. It becomes instinct after a while if you work that eventually. Oh,
yeah, I
Ken,
never.
you're too
Dude,
kind, my
Ken
friend.
Baumgartner, dude, man, where you been, man? I hope you're doing good. That dude's a good tech, man. He came over and showed me how to glass a dent in like 3 minutes, dude. That dude's
Kent
you could
is
tell
a
he's a hail tech.
monster. Yeah. No,
Mike,
he's
step aside. Let me show you something.
yeah. Right
I'm
on,
like, all
Kent.
right, all
Welcome.
right. Kent's an underrated dude, man. Good dude, man. So, um,
Yes, he
all
is.
right, guys. Let me get through here. I do think that monetizing your craft on YouTube, whether it's fixing dents or whatever, it may be definitely something everyone motivated should look into. Oh, dude, 100%, dude. Like, yes. Let's talk about that, right? Joe, you do great videos. Good
Yeah.
comment there, by the way. What is your real name? Like, I want to know your real name, please. So, if you don't mind, 9252 life. um
We could just
That was
call him
probably one
Ryan.
of the first things I knew to do when I jumped into creating my business. I knew video was going to be the dominant platform at one point or another because it's visual, right? you really had all these aspects of how people could perceive you, how they could get to know you, how they could trust you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And see
Yeah.
your work truly. It depends on how you shot it and whatnot, but still pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
100%. If you're still late in the game about videoing, I highly recommend it, dude. Like I really, really do. That is the most. It's not going away. It's only going to get better. Now, how is ChatGPT going to implement to it? Do I have any ideas on that? Yes, but they're still theory stuff, right? I think they're going to be able to spit out a voiceover with your commentating. This is how I think it's going to go. You're going to chat GPT your script. It's going to be formatted from your thoughts. It's going to be transformed into a better thought. And then your voice will be recorded and it's going to know your voice. And then it does a voiceover for you. So you don't have to go. And the dent took back, hold on a second. And the dent was, and you're doing like take after take after take. I think that's the way it's going to go. It's going to speed up the process that way. It's going to create automatic thumbnails for you based on your photos, your inputs. I think
Yeah.
that's the way it's going to go within a year. I think, I think within a year, it's going to be able to do that. It's already kind of doing that, but I think it's going to be able to do that like in your editing software and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, do you think it takes anything away from the human element that you're trying to
Of course.
communicate?
Of course, but I don't think
Yeah.
anybody has a choice. I think, Joe,
Mhm.
if you could spit out 10 videos a week that are really good compared to your
Yeah.
one or two,
Right.
because
Yeah.
quality is good as long as I that's part where I'd have. If I had the capability of putting out 10, I'd probably put out 5 because I would control the quality of it, right? I would make sure that it's still Myke Toledo approved. I have
Yeah.
editors, you guys, that I hire here and there, and they've only done like 3 videos for me on my channel, but I have a hard time letting them do it because it's not it's not my style all the way, right? That's another thing, dude. Video is editors are specifically for PDR repairs. I see people falling around like, hey, they're videoing themselves and they got a camera guy and they're talking about a tool or they're talking about and they're just falling around. That's nothing compared to doing the repair, showing the shot, showing
Mhm.
the technique, how it's being worked, and then what are the best shots to shoot at, right? That's the hard part. Or you do all the editing, you do all the videoing, you send it to your editor, but it's like they have to be trained in PDR and able to edit PDR videos. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot involved, a lot of moving parts, man, but it's imperative at this point. I think in any business you're in, especially visual type of, business like what we're in, you have to have some kind of system to showcase your work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Barry, that's the part you're gonna have a hard time as I mentioned, just like that. I mean, I've really tried. I think you could definitely hire people to do your social media and post it and create blogs and do all that stuff. I think that's going to be definitely the way to go. But the editing part is going to be kind of hard if you really, really want it to be as good. Depends on how you want it done, though, I guess. So, or how picky you are. Um,
9 to 5
Chad
to life.
Maynard, that's his name.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chad. Good to meet you, man.
It's 9 to
I've
5
heard his
to
name
life.
before. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Um,
Joe.
no, no, I'm saying like it's I understand the name now, Chad. Yeah, I mean this is how we are spending our entire lives. Most of our lives, right? So we may as well enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah, dude, I've been talking to a couple friends. I'm not gonna name no names, right? And they get out of the PDR business for a little bit. They go do something, and they come back because at one point, when you get really good at what you do, this craft, it's. I'm not bloating about it, but man, I don't think once you understand how to do it, and you're comfortable at a certain level and certain type of dents that you do, I don't know I don't know. I'm trying to think about, was there anything comparable that we do that has the freedom, that has the interaction, that
No.
the financial like freedom or benefit? Because I tell people sometimes, I mean, I don't want to, I guess I can say it, but dude, sometimes it's like going to pick up money, man. Like you're just gonna, oh yeah, I'm gonna go over here and I gotta make a couple stops, and I gotta do that, So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it can be, I don't know, it's a double edged sword, shall I say?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you get comfortable, right? But I think, yeah, no, I think it's an amazing profession and it's an amazing service, though. Like, I still think, I mean, especially on a mobile basis, like I was trying to tell these damn consumers here for the longest time. It's like, look, I'm coming to your house and I'm basically resetting time. That dent on your quarter
That's
panel
right. That's
is
exactly what you're
is
doing.
gone now, and and I can do that for X amount, and it was always just about price. No, the other guy can do it cheaper. He's gonna come to my house. You know what? Forget it. I'm done trying to convince you how amazing this process and service is at any price. So I'm gonna do it this other way, and I'm gonna work with my ideal clients. And you know what? It's fun. It's nice working with people who get it and who value what you do. And it's a beautiful thing because I can see what you're saying, Mike. It's like, why would you want to do anything else? And I mean, truth is there's a lot of jobs that maybe pay better that maybe aren't as challenging, Like, I mean, I don't know what they are. Nobody's told me, but I don't know. I think like maybe they require more investment, but
I
I feel like
I think it's
we
that.
nerded out on this stuff and we
No, we
enjoy it.
do. It is true like that. But I think, Joe, you made a great point, and I've said this before too. Like you are turning back time in real time, saving them time. That's crazy. Think about, like, don't just hear that. Like, think about that. All you dent guys, body shops, whatever, you you are fixing a dent in real time. Like you're turning back time by fixing a dent in real time, saving them time. All in three things in one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy. What
but
what any trade that does that, dude? Go ahead.
exactly. Exactly. But the verdict has been, in my experience, in my part of Southern California, that and I'm not crying the blues here, by the way, but the mass consumer, unless they can be turned around with education, but they have to be open to it. They have to be willing to listen to you, inform them on their options. And but it's my feeling that the mass consumers, they want to believe that it's just cheap labor, and
Mhm.
there's no shortage of paintless dent removal service providers who are willing to oblige as cheap labor.
I think it takes considerable amount in some areas or markets than others about the education part, video, advertising. Advertising takes time. If people who, if you never advertised before and you're slow and you think it's just because your market, like you have to understand, you have to build the advertising market, because those are clients that you've never had, like who don't know.
Right.
And the reason why I advertise is because I always thought, like I was told, like rich dad, poor dad, all that stuff. I like 15 years ago when I started advertising, is McDonald's, as big as they are, they never stopped advertising. They never stopped advertising, right?
Mhm.
And yes, I spend thousands of dollars a year advertising, and I feel like I'm pretty known right here in my own industry area, like my local area, but I would
Yeah.
never stop advertising. Now I do
Right.
stop and take money out from here and put a little money
You
there.
adjust.
I pay
Yeah.
attention to what's
Yeah.
working, what's not for
Right.
that time being, because sometimes Instagram's hot, Facebook's hot, like or
Yes.
YouTube, or Google, or my what's my other one? Yelp, right? I don't
Yeah.
advertise all the time for Dent time, but I do for bumper time.
Right.
So going back to your question, Joe, I mean, going back to your statement, you know, what I'm trying to say is that, like, you can't just count on your Google My Local Business. You can't just, hopefully your videos on YouTube catch fire and you get people that see you there, which will work. It probably is one of the most organic things you can do. But advertising, right? And I feel like it's a good way to learn about marketing even stronger.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook marketing, like now TikTok marketing. I mean, you have to pay attention, man. If you want to, like, I guess Gary Vee says what you got. It's something about day attention trading or something like that. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of things still to learn, especially in this changing dynamic of social media.
Oh, absolutely. All in all, though, like it's an investment in your own. It's your own investment. It's like speaking of day trading or investing in other, you know, businesses, and you're investing in your own business. And what else? What other investment could you have possibly have more confidence in?
Yeah, yeah. I think his name's Jai or Jay. I don't know how you pronounce your name. Sorry, dude.
I
But
was calling
because I
Jay.
began to ask cheapskates, how much does it take to fill up your tank, and how often do you fill up your tank? This dent is gone forever with no redo unless you have damage later. That's true.
I
I
like
mean,
that.
that is true. I
Yep.
can I make a quick point about that. So, Joe and I have been talking about this, and Joe's kind of implementing on these type of clients too. Dude, you either have like the high end clients you want to go for, or you have the low, right? And you can't try to, for me and Joe, at least, I'm not only speak for myself, but Joe I know is on the same, because we're on the same page. But we don't we don't fish for goldfish, man. Like, yeah, we can do those quick $200 dents, or whatever you guys want to, 150, whatever you guys charge for the lowest cost repair. But that's not where we're targeting. I'm almost in the auto body collision cost, not the damage, but the cost. And so I don't really. They have this old saying, right? Like, and this was good. I learned it last year. It's like, bees don't waste their time telling flies honey tastes better than shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I like that.
So why would you waste your time telling a client who doesn't care about the value of your service in the first place?
That's right.
They really
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
All right. So it's kind, well, anyways, but that's all I gotta say about that. Now, someone else made a good point here on something else. How has doing PDR affected your body in the aspect of back, knees, or any muscles? That's a good question.
Yeah.
So, Yedin,
In
um,
the Yeah, and real quick, Mike,
don't
in
you answer it?
in
Yeah.
the spirit of transparency, yeah, I know you're gonna be transparent about this. Go for it, man. Answer what you were gonna answer. Sorry.
No, you answer first, and I'll go after you.
Um, I think it's important to know, PDR can be very hard on your body, and that's, I think, the gist of where you and I talk, Mike. We've I think the gist of our talks have been work smarter, not harder, and, but yes, to answer your question, about how has doing PDR affected your body in the aspect of like back, knees, or any muscles? I've felt it in my knees the most because, working on, I have a kneeling pad. I've, for so many years, I've, you're working a lot of times on it as a retail tech, mainly not a hail tech so much, right? I don't think, but as a retail tech, we work on the sides of the vehicle, and the bottom, a lot of times at the bottom, or getting eye level with the door, at the door handle level, And so a lot of times my knees, I feel it a little bit in my back, in my lower back, and in my shoulders.
Yep. Perfect. I feel it a little bit now in just a little bit of occasionally I'll get pain. I don't get it very often. I think I can give you guys some tips. Anybody who maybe getting into PDR, maybe you are just starting to do it, but be aware of like how your leverage is with your body. When I teach people how to use the leverage, the weight of their body instead of their shoulders or their joints, because tech generally does is take a tool that's too long and they like a door, right? And they're way up, right? And you can hear your arm pop too. And you're putting a lot of pressure right here in the
Yeah.
rotor cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your tool should be level like this, and you should be leaning into the dent and then giving it a twist, right? Same thing here. Like I put my arm right here in the side of my rib cage practically, or in my hip, and I lean into it. I keep this all straight. I do not do any of this. Very rarely I'll do that. Okay. But that's very temporary. But when I'm pushing on a nasty heavy dent, I'll make sure the rod is heavy enough so I can get a lot of push to it, a lot of leverage, a lot of power, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of leverage, a lot of power equals a lot of control. You
Yeah.
have leverage, power, control, you have a cleaner repair and less stress on your body. So that's how you could prevent getting that. It's not going to completely possibly get rid of, but it'll prevent about 90% of those pains in the future and possibly worse.
This is not an advertisement by any means. I mean, we're not sponsored, but I feel like stand liner tools are super powerful in that way, Myke. When you get the right stand liner tool, one of those beefy ones, with the right bend and the right, tip and, surface area, man, you can power out
Mhm.
some metal with like very
Mhm.
minimal effort and
Yeah,
less
and that's
less
yeah.
strain on your body.
Yep, and that's why now the door lords, now you have extensions and handles, and you can extend the handles now, and now you can almost push a dent. Oh, by the way, Jai, thank you. That's he told me how to pronounce his name the correct way, like Ty, lie. So Jai. So thank you, Jai, for breaking that down. So the leverage of those tools make a huge difference, right? I mean, I tell people you need more kick and you need more leverage. When you have that, you can also almost press against the door or the panel when you have all that leverage. Same
Yeah.
thing with a lot of guys. What they do is they fight, and I've said this before. They fight. You know where you can put the tool in the opening, right? And you have that leverage point, and your tool's only what 30% out, and you got 70% in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're fighting that leverage because your tool's not long enough.
Yeah. Your
Well, get a
fulcrum
tool that is
point.
long enough,
Yeah.
right? Because now the dent's winning, you're not winning, and you're
Right.
putting a lot of stress here trying to make up that leverage. So it needs to be the flip flop the other way, 70% out, 60, 70% out, 30, 40% in. So you have that huge control, more leverage, less stress. So that is something you guys can like think about when you're pushing. So
Do you talk with your trainees about fulcrum points, and
100%. That's what I meant. The fulcrum
yeah,
point. Yep. Hmm. Hmm.
right on.
Because that's the first thing you have to learn is like they'll go grab a tool, it's too short or it's too long, or you can easily see. I'm like, damn, that hurts me just looking at you doing that, dude.
Oh
Because
yeah, and
it's
then bad
huge.
habits get formed. I know, man, I've had to break a lot of bad habits
Thanks,
with
Matt.
PBR.
Yeah. No, dude, it's huge, man. And so I don't know how long are we on right now. What time is it? It's an hour and 3 minutes. So, Joe, what else you got? What's
Hey,
on your
real
mind,
quick.
man? Give me some stuff, man. Like you just spill it, man. Like what's
Okay,
going on?
in spirit of transparency, dude, I'm gonna drill a motorcycle tank, an Indian motorcycle tank that I've beat on senselessly or mindlessly with. Remember how I mentioned earlier about having too much grit,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I glue pulled the what out of this tank, and I've got the metal to move on this stout motorcycle tank. Right, there was no axis. There's just no axis on this one, and I busted my Kiko mini bridge at the point where the clamp meets up with the bolt with the big all thread.
Wait, you
The
talking the
rod.
metal, the metal one? You
I
busted that?
busted I busted the metal.
Holy crap!
Yeah, I was getting some powerful pulls with the impact wrench, and I was getting the metal to move, and I ended up resorting to using just my old school mini lifter, which is all metal, and no flex, man. And but I must have spent 48 hours on that, dude. Not all at once, but over the last 2 weeks, and I've had this guy's tank, hostage at my shop, and just working on it, once and when I have time. And he's been super patient, really cool. But I'm gonna be calling him. I talked to a welder in my area who's I've worked on his cars too, and that's what's cool about PDR.
I've
You
drilled
make
2 tanks, dude.
contacts, you make resources that end up, you do business with them. And
Mhm.
this guy's a badass welder, and I turned over a few stones asking around, and a lot of people don't want to weld tanks because
Of the
because
pressure, the gas, all that stuff.
well, they fear that it's going to become a bomb, and you go online, and there's all these urban legends once again, people talking like they're experts on everything and saying, oh, you can't drill it or tank, or you can't weld a tank, blah blah blah. Well, yeah, if there's fumes in there, you're going to make a bomb. But he instructed me on what I need to do, and I was actually inspired to drill this tank by none other than the drill master himself, Mr. Myke Toledo.
Hey,
You
oh,
drill
you're
the
talking about
tank
that one
too,
when
man.
I had dude, I that wasn't volunteer. Like, I'm like, "Hey, man, I can't do your tank. Yeah,
I
here's your
know.
tank back, dude." And he's like, "What do you mean you can't do it?" I'm like, "Dude, there's no access. The baffle's in the way." Lucky he was local as I delivered it to him. He was like, he was like, "Man, good customer service." He goes, "But can't you drill a hole?" You want me to drill a hole in your tank? He's like, "Yeah, drill it underneath because that way I don't have to paint. I can paint underneath, but I don't have to paint around it." I was like, "Yeah, but that wasn't even a thought." I go, "How are you gonna plug it?" Like, "Oh, I'll get somebody to plug it." And I was like, "All right." So I asked one of my body shops, and they're like, they did the same thing. They're like, I don't want to do that, you know."
Yeah,
But I gave it back to him because I thought my body shop would do it, and he said, "No, I'll get somebody to do it." And
yeah,
he's the one that told me to go ahead and drill a hole. I never even thought about doing that, dude.
yeah,
So yeah,
right. Yeah, well, I just got to ask this gentleman if he wants to go that route, and we'll see if he wants me to do it. If he says no, then I'm not going to drill it, but there's a nice spot right underneath at the bottom of the tank where no one's ever going to see, and of course, then there's a procedure there. So, I he instructed me just wash out all the fuel and with soap and water, as much as possible, and then you don't have to worry about the sparks, about any fumes or anything, if it sparks. So, um, but yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll probably make a video of it because I'd really like to show the video of the mini bridge breaking. Like that's pretty powerful stuff that we're doing.
you do have a video.
I believe so. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
because I was videoing a lot of parts of it. I might not have captured it, but maybe I did. We'll see.
I would like to do a podcast if you don't mind sometime in the future about the fails, dude, about dents that we've tried. Matter of fact,
Mhm.
there was a raptor we tried. Dude, awesome pull, came out awesome. Like we were fighting to get that thing to pull, and it finally pulled. But it locked pressure, man. Like that locked a massive pressure in the corner on the top rail. And it was already locked. We just knew it. We were hoping it would unlock, but no, it just did. It just, and this is aluminum Raptor, of course, and
Oh yeah.
we failed. We didn't. We're successful at it,
Mhm.
and but that's how it goes, dude. Like you're not going to win every
Well, that's
repair.
where you find, your own unique threshold, because that threshold changes with every day and every year, as you get better and you figure out these things out, you learn what you should have done, differently, or you go back and reflect on it. Now you're videoing your work. A lot of people are now, and I think it's again imperative to communicate, show your work to the world. And then you go do the play by play, and you see, oh man, I kind of messed up there.
That's what we're planning to do, right? And matter of fact, I did a video on you, and I did one on Brandon, and I'm doing one on Jeff McGill and J-Ma.
Right on.
Obviously, two other great techs, right? Really
Yeah.
good at what they do. And so I want to do a play-by-play breaking it down because some people don't know what what they're doing, or like why would they do that like that and things like that. So that's not next on my list. I did do a poll on my YouTube channel, and going back real quick before you close this out is that I love shorts. I thought it was great when it came out, but I also thought it takes away the story, shall I say. I mean, you got to be very hyper focused about getting to the point about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and keep it leading, right?
Yeah.
But I also want to do more longer videos now because I miss that, Joe. I miss the
Yeah.
storyline, the documentary part,
Yeah.
but I've learned a lot through shorts because now I know how to keep people's attention in a longer format now, right? Instead of dragging it on and going on and on, I
Yeah.
think my style is changing for the better for the longer ones because now I'm looking forward to do longer videos, and that's why I wanted to mention earlier.
That's
Um,
great.
I'm getting sick and tired of the shorts a little bit. I'm getting burnt out. That's why you don't see as many because I
Yeah.
feel like everybody just wants just give me the highlights.
Yeah.
We're all ESPN now, dude. Like in a
Right.
way, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's great, Mike, because it's giving you perspective and you're acknowledging that. And so you had to kind of pass through that portal of doing the shorts, the reels, whatever, whichever platform you're on. But it's almost like you had explained it also as these are your trailers, these are your like previews of the longer format,
Mhm.
and so, but I think it all depends on your agenda. What is your intent, what are you
I,
trying to get, and you've made it clear about you want to enjoy the process of making a documentary, of documenting the real story, because oftentimes there's not enough time in that 1 minute to explain the whole story, so I
no,
think it's great, dude. I think, we all know you're not going to maybe not get as many views as you would on a 60-second reel, but at the same time, you're going to get probably the more meaningful views because these are the people that genuinely and sincerely want to watch what you're communicating. And I think there's a lot of people that do want to see that stuff because you have a unique take on it, and you put it all in there, man, and you put it in a quality manner too. So like it's very viewable.
yeah, thank you. I think what longer videos are really for is the deeper dive, right,
Yeah.
into these type of repairs. A video that's coming out, and I've been saying this to Joe for a while. And he's going like, "Yeah, right, Mike." But the next real documentary is the Rivian repair. There's the full. By the way, if you guys ever want to see that breakdown of the Rivian, we have 11 hours logged in like this talking about the Rivian repair step by step, and we're still got another 3 hours probably left to finish that up. But if you're interested in that, but what I'm going to do with the Rivian is break it down into a commentary, but keep it going, but really kind of show a perspective of that repair. That's I feel like it's needed. I feel like I don't know. It kind of gives me kind of something to look forward on that. But I don't want to bore everybody with the details. But that's kind of like what I'm up to in the longer ones. So yeah, longer form YouTube and Instagram is for shorts. It's for YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, I mean, obviously Instagram, or actually you can thank TikTok for that because Instagram, I used to be able to put like 2-3 minute videos up or longer, 10-minute videos up, but they changed that. They won't let you put longer videos up as long now.
On
Um,
Instagram.
on Instagram, they keep changing
Really?
it back and forth. They'll let you do, I think, a minute and a half now or a little longer. TikTok,
Okay.
you can go longer,
Yeah.
but it's
And
I
I
don't know.
think
It's
I
hard.
think Aiden is what he's saying is like, that the viewers tend to gravitate towards like on YouTube, or people
Mhm.
will tend to go to YouTube to watch longer format. And, whereas Instagram, it's more like you're rolling the wheel, scrolling, for short stuff. But yeah, it's interesting, man. It and I feel like we're, like I said before, the human race is evolving alongside this, and the way we consume this this stuff, it just, because there's, look, you can only put so much attention, right? I mean, I'm so grateful that all our friends here are, watching. They've been with us for over an hour here, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we
that's
started
unheard of
late.
this day and age.
Yeah. We started late. It's 11, almost going on 12 o'clock, other places, and morning
So,
other places. Barry's right, 100%. So shorts will elevate and catapult your followers, your views like crazy, because that's where everyone's at, right? Everyone's wants to give
yeah.
me the goods. I'll follow you if you have decent content and it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, it's valuable, it's educational. Yes, you will get that. If you can nail those things in your video, yeah, you definitely will get some traction for sure. The longer videos, I think you can still do that now if you learn from your shorts, because that's what I did. I've learned from my shorts. So my longer content now, the latest longer ones, you'll see it's kind of getting to the point as we go longer. So good point there, Barry. I'm convinced Rivians only get damaged from the behind. They do, Chai. They do. Most of them do. Do you guys know why? If you Joe and I have an idea why. Well, at least what the pretty touchy when you go into reverse.
Mhm.
And two, the sensors aren't as good as they claim to be. So they accelerates that fast, doesn't give enough time. And then people who think that they're good, the sensors lie to them and they crunch that quarter panel all the time. So that's the two main reasons why they whack those rear quarter panels a lot.
Same thing on the
Yeah.
Teslas too, on the hatches, right? It seems like those get whacked a lot.
Yeah.
People backing
Yeah.
in.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've took enough of your time here. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll post this sometime. Was tomorrow, Thursday? I should be able to post this tomorrow. If you guys miss it, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on FaceTime, Facebook page. But yeah, I'll get this up and running. So we appreciate you guys' time. Thank you very much. Thanks for your comments too. And I don't know when we'll see you on the next one because we've been pretty inconsistent, but thanks for giving us your time, though. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.